and the UW Entrepreneurial Law Clinic will present on robotics. And then Saturday the 22nd, we've got a really interesting event happening right downstairs in our own makerspace. We're having the University of Washington Maker Summit. Now, the fact that it says University of Washington does not mean that it's only open to students and faculty. It's open to the public. There's going to be a lot of things going on. There'll be exhibits and there'll be activities, and it's open to everyone, and it's free. And you can bring your kids, I've been told, and there might be some activities for them. It should be really interesting, and there's a small competition going on for who has made the best stuff. And if you're interested in finding out more about that, you can go ahead and email me, and I'll email on to Chu, the person who runs our makerspace, and we'll get you guys in touch. Or you can just show up here on April the 22nd at about 11 o'clock in the morning, and they'll get started. They'll be going all day long. So today, welcome, welcome. I'm glad that you were all able to find us. I see some people here who are from our startups. I'm not sure who the rest of you are, but we're really glad to have you. We're going to have John Plaza speaking about contacting customers and customer feedback. After John is done, the UW Entrepreneurial Law Clinic will be here and talk about Patent 101. So we'll be continuing with that topic of IP that we started last week. So John has had more than 20 years of experience in the renewable energy, clean technology, and aviation sector. And he's been launching successful startups from the ground up for a very long time. He's fantastic. He is president and CEO of Imperium Renewables. And he founded and led one of the largest biodiesel producers in the world through the global financial crisis of 2007 and 2008. And during that time, there were extremely low oil prices, as you will recall, but still delivered record revenues of $87 million. And also has, up until this point, Imperium's activities have reduced global CO2 emissions by more than 4 billion pounds. It's pretty amazing. He's going to be talking today, and we're very lucky to have him. Thank you very much, John.
Does that look like it's on? Okay. Great. So I'm going to do things sort of the way I like speakers to talk, and that is to have more of an engagement together and more of a group discussion. Some would call it a round table. I don't have any PowerPoints. I tend to get super bored and sleepy, especially after I eat with PowerPoints, so hopefully we can have more engagement with all of you guys. And I really would like to know your experiences, your questions, your concerns, your successes, your failures in engaging with your customers. And I'll give a brief sort of intro on why I'm excited to talk about this and how it's benefited me in the company that I was the founder and CEO of and since sold, and now as a board member in a number of different companies, how I help strategically those companies think about their growth and success. So you heard the bio. I'll add a little bit to that. So when I was a little kid, I decided airplanes were the coolest thing in the entire world, and I spent all of my education learning how to fly airplanes. I went on to fly small airplanes in Alaska, up above the Arctic Circle for a number of years, got a job flying larger airplanes, and it ended up sort of reaching what I thought was my career pinnacle of flying a 747 from Alaska to Tokyo hauling freight. And I flew for Northwest Airlines. And we would haul about 220,000 pounds of cargo in a 747. And prior to having that job, I thought that would be the coolest job on the planet. Once having that job, I realized the consequences of that didn't reflect my personal values, most importantly from an environmental or sustainability standpoint. So this was right around 2000, and it's a 6.5 hour flight from Anchorage to Tokyo, and we would haul things back and forth between Asia and the United States like horses, cars, cherries, blue jeans, things that didn't at the time and today seem like they were worthy of that much energy consumption. And to share sort of a metric that I used to determine that didn't fit my life plan, in that 6.5 hours we used about 4,200 gallons of gas, which equates to about 42 years of my personal car, driving 10,000 miles a year at the time. So I thought to myself, if I'm going to truly reflect what I care about, or do what I care about, and try to change the world, I can't sit there and burn that much fuel. I need to do something different. So for the next 3 years, I looked for opportunities in the sustainability arena, trying to figure out how I could do something that was good for the planet, a good business, a unique opportunity, and met the demands of society without having them have to change a lot. And so in 2003, I discovered biodiesel. Seattle had the highest per capita consumption of biodiesel in the country, excuse me. And the closest producer was in the Midwest. It was a very small industry. There was a lot of enthusiasm for clean technology, climate change, a little bit different than now, obviously. And so to me, it seemed like a great opportunity, and I sort of did the typical entrepreneurial thing, which is to throw all caution to the wind. I sold my ski boat and my motorcycle and my house and took a giant load out of my 401k, and I wasn't married, so I wasn't having to convince anybody this was a good idea. And I started Imperium Renewables in 2004, and it was a good time to start a company. And there was a very important component of that time, which is what we're going to talk about today, and that's the customer engagement that we had at the time as a small company. So the first facility we built was 5 million gallons a year. That was one of the largest biodiesel facilities in the West Coast. To give you a frame of reference, Washington uses about 1 billion gallons of diesel a year, so 5 million gallons is a drop in the bucket relative to diesel demand, but it was large for the scale and the size of the industry. And with the enthusiasm around climate change and clean energy and clean tech from the investment community, we recognized there was a broader opportunity to grow the business. But to do that, we needed to raise money. And this is the key message that I want to layer into the discussion today on why talking to your customers and getting their feedback is important. Because if you want to build a business, you have to have a customer. But more importantly, you have to have an investor. You have to have money from somebody else. In 99.9% of the businesses that start up, you need somebody else's money. And the only way you're going to get somebody else's money to grow your business is if you have customer engagement. So I'll circle back to that when I'm finished with my story. So 5 million gallon a year facility, we start looking for customers besides the local fueling station that's buying our product, or the oil company that doesn't really want to buy our product because it's in competition to their product. And we landed a opportunity to do some exploratory testing on cruise ships. And that engagement with that customer led to a very significant